Do you find it hard to stop and do nothing? I wanted to have a little bit of a conversation about this because this was like a huge realization that I came to last week about myself. When I choose to stop and do nothing, when I choose to sit in the stillness, choosing to actually go and meditate or just sit and watch nature, I feel totally comfortable doing nothing. I'm totally okay with it. But when it's forced upon me, when my life seems to slow down or my business seems to slow down and there's an emptiness or the momentum stops for a bit and I find myself with nothing to do or with a space, like it's sort of like imposed upon me because things have just slowed down. I actually noticed the other day what that does is I felt this void or this emptiness, like it was just so uncomfortable. And it was sort of almost like a thick feeling. And I noticed actually a couple of weeks ago when I felt into my body, I felt like I was storing this thick sort of feeling of this void or this emptiness. Like I could feel it around the outside of my body like armor. And I thought, oh, that's really fascinating, isn't it? Because it was so uncomfortable. I didn't want to sit in it. I didn't want to sit in that void, that emptiness. That was just such a really horrible feeling. And I realized that what that was my wound being activated, because my wound, which is I'm not enough, which is the unconscious belief that seems to have driven so much of my life, that emotional imprint that sort of happened when I was a child, the meaning that I gave to my own life from the experiences I had, the not good enough in me was totally activated when things slowed down and there was nothing to do, because I'm not good enough as I am. I'm not good enough just being me. I have no value if I'm not actually doing something, if I'm not actually, making something or trying harder or doing something or writing a list or getting out there and getting shit done. I'm not good enough just as me in this space being present. And when I noticed that that was my wound being activated, I also realized that unless I can sit in the space of that uncomfortable feeling of nothingness and void, and I guess it's really even hard to put words around it. Unless I can sit in that, there's no way I'm going to get to the other side of it, because that's what happens with all emotion. Like Marcus Aurelius said, what's in the way is the way. If I want to get to a feeling of inner freedom, if I don't want to keep experiencing these recurring feelings again and again and again, I have to be willing at some point to actually sit and accept them and just be with myself. Just show up for me as I'm having a feeling, allow it to process through my body with love and compassion until I get to the other side. And then on the other side, I will feel more freedom and relief, which is exactly what happened, but I had to be willing to sit in it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to feel that feeling again, because sometimes when you shine a light on a feeling like that and you understand why it's there, what's being activated, it's almost like it doesn't have to come back again, because its role, and this is, I often think this about feelings, the role of a feeling is to actually alert you to somewhere in you that needs to be acknowledged and seen and processed. So I sort of feel like it played its role. I'm not saying that it's not going to return. I don't know, but I feel pretty good now. And I just wanted to share that realization, because I do know from the work I do with people, so many of my clients say they find it really difficult to do nothing. This poses another issue at the moment on the planet, because we are shifting our consciousness. You may notice that some of the things that you've done in your business or in your life just aren't working anymore, that your capacity to push through and make things happen and drive things might not be working out for you so well at the moment. I personally think this is because there is a shift happening on the planet, and I've noticed in my own life that it's very much about letting go and trusting and actually allowing life to inform me, allowing life to bring in what I need to do next and like give me the prompts I need rather than me trying to find those things I have to do. So, of course, I have to be able to sit comfortably in that space of allowing and doing not much and just being present. So I think it's a pretty amazing skill to be able to sit in that space and enjoy yourself as you, as who you really are, that authentic self in you, not having to do anything or add to that moment. So that's my realization for last week. Hope it's a benefit to you. Sending you love.